Hey friends, so I did take notes, but I lost them. So this video is a response to um the idea that most things that we get are do involve slave labor. Um and so yeah. And a friend was asking for like where the stats came from. And so there I'll go through some of those, and then also I got like a lot of my numbers are from um I started researching in like 2011, I believe. Um right after going to Haiti or right before. And it was crazy. Like my husband was like, anyways, I spent like days researching this. I was like, oh my goodness. And then that's when I found out a lot. So like it's been a long time since then. But so okay. So the idea like 98% of fashion and clothing specifically is made by slave labor. That was the statistic, and I believe that one is specifically from Fashion Revolution or that puts on Fashion Revolution Week in response to the Rani Plaza collapse. And so I'm gonna go through different countries and like different parts of that and like different numbers and similar things. So that one, so fashion is where the 98% comes from. And so basically what that means is like if you don't know who and where your clothing or your accessories or whatever was made, most likely was made by like slave labor or children. Sad but true. And that's yeah. So then there's that. And then I don't know percentages for most of the things. And the other like side of that that I did know was there was the slave labor footprint, or like the human trafficking footprint. I think it was like the slavery footprint. The slavery footprint was a project that was from 2010s, 20 teens in that area. And I have not been like I don't think the website works anymore. It did not work on my last computer. It doesn't work on my phone. I've not checked it on this computer, like the current computer I have. But the site like I don't think they kept updating it. And so that's old. Those are old numbers. But it went through like the items and the things that we use in your daily life, and it calculated how many slaves were averaged in your supply chain. Supply chain. Um and so some of the things that have really stuck with me from that. I used to like walk through Walmart and like know like, oh yeah, that piece of clothing, like this section, whatever, probably took like X number of slaves. Like just like it was daunting for a few years of just like, ugh. Um, but I'm running out of space. Ugh, dang it. Um, but it's like shrimp is one thing where like if you don't get shrimp made in the US, it's mined with slaves. Diamonds, another thing that's usually slave labor. Not always. I don't know the statistics on that, but there's a lot of them that are. Um, Electronics, a lot of the chips and electronic parts, slave labor. Sorry, I'm running out of data. Like so many things, and like so many things. Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, China. Um, sorry. Like so in high school, I went to a clay pot factory that was making. People made about like $2 a day. Families lived in like little garages, smaller than the room that I'm sitting in right now. Um, and those were being sold. Those clay pots were being sold at Home Depot in the States. So like a lot of the stuff like that we buy, slave labor. And that's one of the cool things with Noonday was that they go into like communities and they take a lot of the shops and like change them, help them um, get to where they can support themselves and not be like children don't get to work. They have schools instead because of them. And so those are just some of the basics, but yeah, like most. I can't speak to the books. I don't know anything about books. I'm looking around the room. I don't know anything about books. I don't know anything like packaging, cardboard, paper. A lot of those things I don't know much about. But like a lot of um yeah, but so that's kind of where some of those statistics come from. Sorry, I'm running out of space. I have more notes. There's also like anything made in the USA is not America. A lot of things made in Italy are actually made by countries. Or like there's Little China in Italy, so a lot of the fashion industry is either made by China in Italy or is made by the mafia. So like olive oil is one of the things like it's really hard to get olive oil from Italy that is not made by the mafia. There's a lot of orchards and vineyards and that type of thing in Italy that are controlled by the mafia. There's a name for it, it's like agro mafia. There's a name for it that is specific to that. The group I work with in Italy is Christian, like solely ministry based and like helping equip the community and like build the community up. So they're not bothered by the mafia, but like most things in Italy, like a lot of the guys that I've worked with, a lot of the refugee camps in Italy ran by the mafia. A lot of the guys that I've worked with worked for the mafia because they don't have a choice. So like a lot of things in Italy. So if it says made in Italy, there's a good chance it's either made by the mafia by um or by slave labor. A lot of the refugees that go over from the refugee crisis from Africa, Northern Africa, Middle East, are working slave labor. And even like, okay, so even another one, though the fair trade company, like there's fair trade companies, like there are organizations that use it well. Like even the African Dutch wax fabric is printed in China, even though it's from Africa. So like most things are touched by slave labor in the supply chain. I don't know cars. I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know about. But then like the slavery footprint, I don't know if they've removed or what. But that one did touch on like if you have X number of electronics, there's X number of like people that it goes to all of that. It's like how many bedrooms do you have in your house? It goes to things like that that impacts like how many. And I think I had like 50 some slaves like working for me at that time in college, and we did not have what we have now. Okay, sorry, I'm keeping stories things. I'm gonna go, but that's just kind of like the basics of that. I will try to track down some of the details, maybe, especially next time I see you. But let's for specific. Anyways, take care. Goodbye, guys.